We have a primetime matchup, 8:30, and we welcome Lindo's A for our first ever live broadcast of an NBA game. We'll do a little play-by-play. We'll do a little conversation. We'll do your questions if you have any. People want to chime in. I see people checking in already. This is my good friend Lindo's A from Syracuse. He's coming to us from Austin, Texas.
That's correct.
And he is such a big Lakers fan that he's not excited for this game because now that they've won a championship, he doesn't care about any regular season game. Any big national TV matchup just doesn't matter because they're just trying to get to even the first round's not going to matter. The second round might matter if it's the Clippers, but he's not going to care about a single game until they get to the second round of the playoffs.
No, even further. First 3 games of the finals, those won't even matter. That's going to be enough.
So you've heard him before on the podcast, Dome Theory. We had a whole summer pretty much with him. So if you're familiar with him, great. If you're not, then check him out at Noel_Corleone. I actually searched that the other day because I was going to look at something, and it's too bad Nerlens Noel comes up before you when I type that in.
You follow Nerlens Noel?
I do. He's from Boston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're showing shots of people outside the Garden. I don't know why. They're probably just going to take the tea home.
And you know what? It's not that I don't care about any game. It's that individually I really don't care except the Clippers game. I care about the games in general when they win and lose. Like those are determining factors. I can watch a game and see a bad loss and be like, they sucked. And then a different game they lose. Like against Philadelphia, I wasn't upset because I was like, that was a beautiful shot. But individually, I really don't care. And the Lakers-Celtics matchup has been dead for so long that it's been 40% of my life, 10 years, has been nothing between the Celtics and Lakers. It hasn't mattered at all. So these games are only to bring up view totals from networks. They're big teams. It's a big game. But the rivalry, that's not really there.
So I wrote about that today because LeBron said it doesn't mean anything because there's no crowd. Like he's still doing that thing a year later that he does. Remember he said a year ago he wasn't going to play a game with no fans, and this is about to be his 49th game with no fans.
I mean, it's not like he has really any say on that. And if he did, he'd probably say we don't really want that.
And he was hinting he was going to sit out the first month of the season. He is so funny sometimes.
I don't even follow him because he bugs me on social media, some of the things that he says, so I don't even really see too much of what he says. And
that's what this
post games either.
That's what this still feels like. It's more Celtics versus LeBron, Tatum versus LeBron. Like these teams don't feel all that entrenched yet because they both kind of stunk in 2019. And then last year they were both great, but they only played 2 times. They should have been in the finals. If you had a finals matchup between these 2 teams last year, I think you would have had a rivalry. But instead, the Celtics had to go out there and lose to the Heat.
Yeah. I mean, Goran Dragic was putting up 20-plus a game against the Celtics and then, got hurt. But.
All right, we're underway. Daniel Tice, early block. Are you a Daniel Tice fan?
I'm not, and you know what else? It's kind of funny that he's a center who's like. I know you have a lot of a like for him. Centers are so declining in the league that it's kind of crazy that like a big team would have a prominent center play.
Well, both these teams do. People get mad because Tice is 6'9" and they don't want to call him a center. I mean, most centers in the league now are probably somewhere between 6'9" and 7 feet. But he does so much stuff that I love. It's just he fouls like crazy. Again, last game, 2 fouls in like 4 minutes. All right, good start for the Celtics. Tatum and Brown, both buckets inside.
How are you that far up? I'm so far behind. That's why I got no words. I can't even. Okay, I'm a little closer.
I'll keep you up to date as close as I can.
Okay, then you'll really be doing the play-by-play. I'll be the color tonight.
Yeah, that's good because then you can go back and watch it. after I call it out. Oh, Tice. Tice just did a volleyball at the rim and knocked it, knocked a putback attempt to the 3-point line pretty much. Anyway, Marc Gasol, we've had a lot of talks about him when he brings to the Lakers. I thought he was done. I mean, we were doing our post-game broadcast, and we pretty much thought he was going back to Spain after that Raptors-Celtics series because he was so bad. He couldn't put the ball in the net. His defense was awful in the pick and roll. He was just lugging up and down the court. He was unplayable, really. And he's done pretty good for the Lakers so far, huh?
He's got maybe the greatest PR in the league after LeBron. New Marc Gasol highlight thing every week. His stats are terrible. So people want to go by stats. That's not it. You want to go by the eye test. He looks, like he'd come last in any race possible. So I don't know what it is that people see that they just love. The spacing, I guess, maybe that's it. But he doesn't play enough minutes where I think that the spacing and the rise in the Lakers three-point shooting is correlated, or especially not causated. So I think he's an old guy. I hope doesn't get big minutes when the games get tougher and more closely strung along together. I really like Trez, so maybe those minutes will decrease even further as the season goes along, and we can see more Trez or more AD at the 5 even.
You don't have a rim protector, do you? Well, Davis, but he's not always going to be playing that inside spot. In a game like this, he's going to be guarding Tatum, he's going to be guarding Brown, those kind of guys, so he's not going to be in there protecting the rim as much.
Yeah, there's definitely the difference. I know that you've highlighted to me so many times of no JaVale and no Dwight, people under the rim, but so far it hasn't materialized that much, their absence. But maybe it will later on. Oh, they're commentating at the game. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they're way up above in level 2. So there's 3 levels. There's a lower level where I think you might have to get tested. Again, no one has access to the players, but I think there's a lower level, there's a second level, and then there's a third level where we'll end up going if we get into some games this year, which is like 9th floor.
My friend who's a Magic fan went to the game yesterday. He was like in the super nosebleeds. He needed binoculars.
Yeah, that's where we would be. Rough start for Tice on offense. He's bricking from mid-range and inside.
You know who we haven't spoken a lot about that I really enjoy is Schroeder. Oh my God, this guy! You can't stat watch him because if you do that, you'll get upset if you're trying to support him. So if you just watch him play the eye test, I mean, the guy's amazing. I love watching him. I love what he brings to the league.
Yeah, he was one of the biggest steals, I think, in off-season history. What did you give up for him? A first-round pick, a Lakers first-rounder? Pretty much it. Danny Green?
Yeah. Who blazed us the other night. That was payback.
Well, you expect that. But this guy, they talk about him being a winner and this and that and 2 straight championships. He wasn't very good on either of those runs. Now, he's a good defender. He's probably one of the better 2 guards in the league. But his MVP level days, and he truly could have been the MVP of that 2014 finals with the Spurs. Those are so far behind him.
He was, if you watched his game, like all of last season, he was awful. He really would. The fact that his 3-point shooting was even close was just to volume. I mean, the guy would miss in key times. There were days when he would just be so off. And unlike KCP, he'd get bullied and then complain and then just not get better. Whereas KCP, we hated on him, and he turned into a stud on threes. So I think he's in the top 10 right now in threes in the league. Where's Danny Green? Only beating the Lakers.
Yep. I underrated Philly though. I didn't think they were going to be that great. I thought they would float around where they were last year. But Seth Curry, he gets out to that start where he leads the whole entire league in 3-point percentage, comes back like a killer after the COVID hiatus that he had. He's made a big impact for them. And, you have to respect Green. He's probably only a 36, 37 3-point guy at this point, but that's better than what they've had in recent years.
Seth Curry, it's kind of funny because if you just followed his history, you'd think he was like a journeyman and not that great. But it seems like every team that he plays for, he puts in good time playing for the team. Whether it was there or the Wolves or where was he before? The Mavs, I think. I enjoy watching him play. It's tough being in your brother's shadow, but.
So this is only the second game that the Celtics have had all their wings back. Smart, Brown, and Tatum with Kemba out there, and then Tice in the middle. They've been starting Tristan Thompson, which did not go well. I love this lineup. You force Davis to guard a wing. You're pulling him out of the middle, as I said. You can switch everything on defense. Kemba can be a liability defensively, but he's in the right spots. And these are the fives that played all the way until the East Finals last year, so there's a ton of cohesion there. Again, the only thing that breaks it up is if Tice fouls, and luckily early on he hasn't.
Now, is Tice that clinical underneath that him being left with a non-AD guard is good enough?
What do you mean? Oh, nice. Tice has tapped about 3 balls to nowhere so far.
In you saying that AD being brought out and guarding a wing is good, is that implying that Tice is so good on offense that him coming out does something extra for the offense, or what?
I would say Tice is the best center on the Celtics right now, so that's why you want him out there.
The competition's not that stiff.
No, it's not. But he's been good. I think he's averaging about 14 points a game the last 2 weeks. He can shoot. That's a huge plus. You have to guard him at the 3-point line. He's not a great shot blocker, but he does block shots, and he's a great transition defender too. And he's just rock solid. I think that only weakness in his game is the 3-point shot. But I think the key to what I mentioned there is that you don't have to deal with Davis blocking shots in the middle if you have him out at the 3-point line on a Brown, on a Tatum. And frankly, Tatum killed him last year when he had to guard Tatum. I saw it was 4 or 5 from the field, 12 points in about 5 minutes. It was a pretty dominant matchup for Tatum last year because Davis is more of a flat-footed post defender. He can get out to the perimeter, but you don't want him guarding a Jason Tatum. So we got a 12-10 game early, Lakers?
That's correct. I'm not seeing too much that I enjoy so far. But it's early, so I think they're measuring up. But it's just been scrappy so far for the Lakers. And usually early on is when the Lakers start to build leads. So before they bring LeBron out for the first time that he sits out, late first or early second.
6 points for Tatum. He's off to a good start. Tice is 1 of 4. We might see some Tristan Thompson out of the break. I'm sure we'll see a new Lakers center as well, but I was glad both sides were able to run about 6 minutes of their starters there. It was a nice back and forth.
Now, you were big on Tristan Thompson coming to the Celtics. And
yeah.
I don't know if you're still big on him, even though it's early. It's 1.
I'm bummed. I'm bummed so far, big time. And what makes it worse is the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year right now is Miles Turner with the Indiana Pacers, who I wanted nothing to do with. I didn't like his Team USA run 2 years ago. I don't love his offense. I don't love the threes that he jacks. But he's been a defensive game changer for them. He had about 44 blocks through 11 games. He's blocking everything. He can get on the perimeter a little bit. And he looks like he would have been the perfect inside guy for the Celtics. Now, they didn't want to spend the $18 million for 3 years on him.
I was going to say, he was on a 72 for, 3 years?
Yeah.
Maybe it was 4.
Would you have done it?
No. When you can get Trez for, 10 a year? You take that. And plus, I don't think they really need that. I think that the Lakers need good shooters, and they got that. And defenders, of course. They need people who can defend. But you can put AD and LeBron at a 4 and 5. So you really don't need to go out and look for, a star big man for the Lakers. That's just not the way that they're set up.
The center position isn't that important, but you do need good players there. And so the question is, do you want to invest on that as a premium position? I think Davis is obviously worth it because he plays multiple positions. He's not just a guy who plays center, but a guy who's strictly a center. Doesn't have a ton of wing capabilities. And Turner's kind of bordering on that. He can shoot the three. He can set up the offense a little bit. So it's a tough call with him. I don't think 18's too expensive, but it does put you into the tax. It does hurt your flexibility down the line. And someone put it to me this way the other day. It's a good point. Would you risk losing Marcus Smart to keep Turner for 3 years? It's close, but I wouldn't.
The problem is that even if you get a very good center, if someone is playing with a lineup of small ball and they're effective, then your center is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter how good they are underneath. It doesn't matter if they're the defensive player of the year. If they can just put everyone on the three-point line and just run around, then it's no point. You can get beat by random.
Look at Rudy Gobert. I mean, that's the story of Rudy Gobert, isn't it? Ooh. All right, rough air ball for Kemba. Daniel Tice with a 3 out of break, so they're sticking with him. I was wrong about that, but the Lakers are as well. So both teams rolling with their starters a little bit longer here.
That's probably not good. I know LeBron and AD are looking forward to their low minutes per game. They probably won't see that tonight.
All right, Kemba's frustrated with a foul call on him. Dennis Schroeder did that little up fake move and got 2 shots from the free throw line. Kemba thinks he flew over the up fake, and he ran out to half court. Now he's having a good chat with the refs. The Celtics have been frustrated with the refs the last week or so, especially in Philadelphia when they were giving Joel Embiid upwards of 20 free throws a game.
I hate the refs, man. I hate refs in every sport.
Did Embiid have one of those 20 free throw games against you guys?
No. He had a lot early, but as the game went on, he had less and less. But he knows how to draw fouls. And I asked a friend of mine if he liked that or disliked that. And he said he enjoys seeing it. But it's just funny because I think it's cool that he does it. But that's because he's a center. If he was like Harden, as a guard, I would hate it. And I hate when Harden does that. But as Joel Embiid does it, it's kind of entertaining to watch a center do the swipe ups and draw the fouls in different ways.
But now we have an interesting look for Boston. Rob Williams in at the 5. Tice moves out to the 4. Brad's played a ton of Tice at the 4 this year. We saw almost none of that last year. And it's all the things I talk about. He can shoot. He can defend on the perimeter a little bit, but it's not his expertise. And those lineups have done really bad this year, especially when it's Tice and Thompson.
He doesn't look like he's built to be a perimeter defender.
No. And the defense has been what kills them in those spots. Kendrick Perkins was talking about how he hates the offense with those lineups out there, and he's right. The offense kind of stinks when you have those 2 bigs clog in the middle. But the defense has been bad too, and that's what they're actually looking for with those lineups. Size, versatility, inside stopping, rebounding, all that kind of stuff. I will say, though, the Celtics have become a top 5 offensive rebounding team this year, so that's probably something they're getting out of it. But I think offensive rebounds are overrated, especially when you don't put it back at a high rate, and Tristan Thompson does not.
I disagree. A team that can get those second chance points frustrates offensive defense.
You think they're trying to emulate the Lakers a little bit with that?
What, getting the second chancers?
Well, the bigs, the size, offensive rebounding.
I wouldn't say that just because I think that, even though the Lakers were a lone team that did that, not alone, but a lonely team that did that, it's just a revert back to a more classical play style rather than the smaller, quicker ball that Golden State has implemented into the league. Especially not because the Lakers don't really play that way anymore. After one season, it's already switched. So I can't really credit the Lakers too much on that. But maybe they are. Maybe they went back and watched and said, you know who we need to play like? JaVale McGee.
So you mentioned Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
He was starter. He was backup last game, and now it looks like he's 3rd in the big man hierarchy here. He has not entered the game yet.
Tristan Thompson seems way more of a name than a player to me at this point. He's
like Marcus All?
Tristan Kardashian to me. I haven't thought of him since his poster with LeBron and Kyle Korver versus Golden State in 2018. I can't remember the last big Tristan Thompson play I saw.
The numbers with him out there are horrifying on Embiid, Durant, some of these bigger players. He did okay against Giannis, but some of the bigger players that you thought he would come here and switch out on and be able to beat off switches. Because I just thought he was a great pick and roll defender. I thought he was a great switch defender, but he's been horrible defensively. And the biggest matchup they needed him in was Embiid, and Embiid shot 13 for 15 against them, and the Phillies scored about 40 points in those positions between the two games. So that went about as fast as it could.
Embiid is going to put up those numbers every game against every team. He just looks like he's that guy this year. And he's looked like that in the past as well. But this year especially, as we've talked about the MVP title, being in the race, being the front runner for it, he's going to put up those kinds of games every single night for 72 games if he stays healthy.
So far we got 8 for Davis, 5 for LeBron. Nobody else is chipping in on the Lakers besides Dennis Schroeder, and no one else has made a bucket.
Which is scary because those games always go down to the wire, they lose. The Lakers have to get everyone involved in order to win games. They can't do the LeBron only or the AD only. Now, one of them can lead heavy, but if it's just those two putting up big numbers, that's a loss. This is a terrible commercial. Big 2020 edge. That's funny. THT is really exciting to watch, and it's funny because he looks so unorthodox as he plays, but he can ball. I think that's so interesting. I thought he was just going to be another throwaway guy that the Lakers add, as so many big teams do. They just get a bunch of young guys that just fill up space and they come in as necessary. But it seems like Frank Vogel is really trying to put THT in the games after he excelled in the preseason this year.
Any reason LeBron was chest pressing in the hallway? Was that before the game?
I'd hope so. I don't know. When you have LeBron's PR team, you get LeBron doing anything you. It could have been him eating Taco Tuesday during the break.
Now, Jeff Teague is an addition I have not loved for the Celtics. He is about as mediocre as they come, and some nights he's just a flat-out zero. I'm not confident he's going to be with the team all year. I don't know. I don't know what people expected from him. He was just a minimum deal. It kind of bridged a month without Kemba, but now Kemba's back. He's full rolling. He's playing well. Payton Pritchard, the Celtics' awesome rookie to start the year, is hurt. He's going to be back next week, I believe. So when that all comes together, I don't think there'll be minutes for Teague here, and we'll see what happens with the buyout market and stuff later. But he's probably going to be the one to go if they need a roster spot.
That's funny because I really didn't even remember Jeff Teague joined the team. I mean, he's kind of a.
It's easy to forget. He had a great opening night too. He had 19 points against the Bucks. He was huge in that game, and he hasn't done much since. Look at that. Double big lineup. You get Rob planted in the low post, and Tice is still able to pull off a pick and roll. I think that spacing's so interesting, but what Tice can do there, as you're going to see in a sec, is pull up from a 12-foot range. So he doesn't necessarily have to get to the basket in that roll, but it's awkward. It looks so awkward. Ooh. You see the bad side of it there defensively, though. Kuzma can stretch the floor. They're going for offensive rebound, and they get it out to him. Bigs aren't able to get out fast enough on him.
Kuzma can stretch the floor. Something you don't hear often.
Yeah.
Floor, rather. Pause.
Occasionally.
Kuzma's another one. Bullying just didn't work on him. He's the same guy. Just so goofy.
All right, we got a good game so far. 26-24 Lakers. Celtics are 10-20 from the field. Lakers just behind, 9-19. And did Rob Williams just put back Anthony Davis's miss? It looks like he did. Oh, that was ugly. Not great Celtics play, center play for the Celtics early in this one.
Well, tell me a little bit about Rob Williams because I really don't know too much. Who is this?
This guy has so much potential. It is unreal. And he's in his third year, and every time the Celtics put him on the floor, you look at his analytics, and they outscore their opponents by like 15 to 30 points per 100. Now, he's playing bench units, obviously. His time's limited. I'd say he's only played about 15 minutes max in a game in his career, maybe upwards of 24 in nights where they were just playing, bench units on the other side, maybe the opposing bubble, end of the bubble stretch there. He was able to get some run, but you see everything with him you would want in a modern center. Aggressive rolls, shot blocking, excellent rebounding so far this year. He's got a physicality that few centers can match up with. Now, he can't defend the pick and pop. That's been his biggest issue so far. He can't get out on shooters, fives, and stretch fours who can shoot the three. He had a ton of trouble against Toronto in the playoffs last year against Gasol and Ibaka and those likes. But he looks like he has everything you would want at the center position. 7'7" length. Lob city. Anything you throw up around the basket, he's going to go up and get. He's a great passer out of the low post and on the roll. He had a great tip pass from the top of the three-point line. They threw it into him in the post, and he just batted out to Smart for a three earlier in the year. So you see these flashes with him that just make you think he could maybe even start for them. But Brad doesn't have great trust in him. It probably goes back to the pick and pop there. I think positioning's an issue for him because in college he could just block anything, and he didn't have to be in great position all the time. The pick and roll can be a challenge. And then I guess there's some off-the-court stuff with him too that I haven't really hammered down, but all we really have is that he showed up to his opening press conference late by like a half hour when the team drafted him. So that's been the running joke with him so far. But again, I want to see more of him. A lot of Celtics fans do. He's had some great games this year. I think overall he's been awesome in his third year. He's shown growth, and I hope he can be the starter by the end of the year.
I mean, you sound like you might be his biggest fan. I mean, I'll have to check him out later on. You gave him what like a scout would say for him.
I just hope he can nail everything down because he's the center of the future here. Obviously, Tristan's not the future. He might not even be the present. Tice is probably going to get some money on the market next year. He's a free agent. I'm not on the Taco train. A lot of Celtics fans are. I don't see him being an NBA starter. Maybe a rotation player at some point, depending on where the league goes. But right now, he's not in that position, obviously. And Grant Williams is like 6'7". So I don't think he's a center in this league. So Rob is the future for this team.
I mean, Taco to non-Celtics fans really seems like a meme. He seems like a guy who just shows up and the fans get him in like what's his name? White Mamba?
Brian Scalabrine.
That's what Taco Fall is to me.
He has been so far. The fans go absolutely nuts. I've
seen it.
I was at the Pistons Celtics game last year where he made his big debut, and the fans absolutely lost it. He ended up getting a hook shot to go in the post, and I believe he blocked someone on the Pistons as well, and the crowd just went nuts. And then there was a game earlier this year where Tristan, Grant, and Rob were all out for COVID, so it was just Tyson Taco. So Taco had to play the backup five, and he blocked a shot on one end and then ran back on the other end and caught an alley-oop and slammed it down. Now, there's no fans this year, but I can only imagine that would have been the loudest moment in TD Garden history.
I bet. What does he put up? Like 3 points? Like
no, he doesn't play. I think in that game he had four with 3 blocks and 5 rebounds or so. So he played well. He's getting better, but I don't see a future for him as a heavy rotation player. Now, again, he does all the stuff in Africa that I think is going to be awesome into the future.
Africa.
I think he's a great ambassador for the game. Again, fans love him, so I hope he can stay in the NBA. I don't think he'd be a guy that the league would want going over to Europe, and he could obviously make big bucks in Europe, but I don't know. We'll see. Right now, he's probably only making $100,000 a year, so it's not great money.
Oh, he's a two-way guy, huh?
Yeah, he's a two-way guy.
Okay. Wow, so he's really not getting time. Did you see Dennis Smith Jr. asked if he can go play in the G League because they won't play him on the Knicks?
Wow, it's gotten that bad for him?
Yeah, and it's funny because early before the season started, I was like, wow, it's time for him to really bounce back this year. They just don't even play him. He doesn't get in a mediocre Knicks team, so I don't know where he goes from there. He had a couple nice dunks on the Mavs, and I really thought, wow, this guy's kind of good.
So interesting lineup here for the Celtics. Tristan, Teague, Ojale, Tatum, and the rookie Aaron Nesmith, who was doing nothing through the first 12, 13 games of the season, but ended up having two great games early this week against the Cavs and the Bulls. It's a sharpshooter. That's about all he does so far. He shoots threes. He shot 50% last year at Vanderbilt from three. And he has struggled defensively so far. So he hasn't gotten minutes. He hasn't gotten a ton of trust, but that has changed in the last week. So hopefully he can contribute here. He just missed a corner three.
Now,
And
this
the Lakers have a 4-point lead.
This is an interesting line. I haven't seen this rotation once this season. It's Caruso, THT, Kuzma, Trez, and LeBron. I haven't seen this once. Let's see if it works out, because Vogel puts out some strange lineups, and that's usually where all the missed shots come from. Them just jacking threes.
But you were concerned about Davis and LeBron doing all the scoring, but it's working so far. The Celtics are just not on offensively. I think Tice leads them in points so far.
Well, I think you answered why it's working out fine right now, since the Celtics aren't firing. But if they were, and if they do, then it will come down to getting more players involved. Trez underneath, maybe Kuzma or KCP getting shots up. THT, since he's getting minutes, maybe he'll be a jump starter outside of LeBron and AD. But if it's at all going to be a competitive game, then it can't just be LeBron and AD unless we're talking about the end of the game.
All right, 32-26. We get a few minutes in here. Looks like we're going to get some subs. LeBron is still in the game. Is LeBron – so I asked you about Embiid. LeBron's obviously in the race too. Do you think he has a case with Davis on the team, or is that just going to kill his MVP chances?
I don't know if I'm using some fallacy here, but to me, because I can't choose whether it's AD or LeBron, I think that hurts both of their stock in the MVP race, as it did last year to me. Because you don't know who's the MVP of the team, it kind of makes it more difficult to say which one is the MVP. And in fact, I thought AD was the MVP of the finals, even though statistically, I think LeBron just edged him out in points, assists, of course, but I think rebounds as well.
Wow, look at that! Aaron Nesmith fouled on a three-pointer. He's going to be going to the line for three. Kemba's got a bucket on a step back on Harrell, and the Celtics got a little something cooking here. Oh no, they called Nesmith. They call an offensive foul on the Lakers there. I thought Nesmith got fouled on a three when I saw him fall. But Tatum gets in and makes a two inside, and we have a 2-point game. Davis has 5 offensive rebounds so far. Big lineup's not helping the Celtics too much on him.
Well, when you watch the plays, it's actually on a lot of them. Jaylen Brown was defending. They have a wing that comes back and defends him instead of the switch when they go from offense to defense.
Getting awful TV connection right now, so I'm out of the fold a little bit. But it sounds like the Celtics are getting a second chance here on a possession.
Yeah,
All right.
my clairvoyance is off at this second, so I can't.
All right, what we got right now, Lakers 34-30. Tatum got a switch on Caruso and drew a foul on a turnaround. So Tatum will have a chance to keep within 2 here. I believe Harrell hit a 2-point jumper on the other end. Taylor Horton Tucker is his name here, getting some minutes. See, he's a G League guy who has kind of made his way up with the team.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be just another one of those guys who's just there to exist, like Anthony McKinney, the Antetokounmpo brother that's on there, and Quinn Cook, who actually got some minutes last year, but now only gets minutes at the Lakers 45. I thought he was just going to be a random, but he's really getting minutes again after that a standout in the preseason that he had. So he's unorthodox, but I like watching him play. He is quick. He's not fast, but he's quick. Like what they said about Luka, as he struggles in he doesn't struggle, but his team struggles in Dallas.
So I'm going to throw this by you. The Celtics offense is getting rolling a little bit now. Tatum misses a layup there. Tatum, Brown, Kemba, they're all back for the first time. This is their only second game together this year. Kemba's knee and the COVID for Tatum and all that stuff. It's been awkward in the second game so far, trying to share the ball, who's setting up the offense, who's getting shots. Payton Pritchard had been so good at setting everybody up, keeping the offense rolling early on. It looks like they miss him right now. He got hurt last week, not a bad injury, but I'm a little concerned about how you rotate minutes for those three. Obviously, you want to have 3 great players in your lineup, but none of them are a bona fide facilitator. Kemba, Tatum, even Brown now, they can all pass the ball off of pressure, out of double teams, that kind of stuff, out of the pick and roll in Kemba's case, but none of them are guys who are going to spread the ball around the floor, get the offense moving a ton, be pure point guards to some degree, as you saw with Rondo with the Lakers last year. He filled that role between a couple of different ball handlers that the Lakers had who, weren't primary point guard options, needed the ball in their hands a lot to do great. And Rondo was just a guy who was going to be strictly about setting those guys up. And that's what Pritchard was to start this year for Boston.
Well, I mean, Kemba is the point guard. So in theory, it should be him who's setting the team up. But he's not really known for his
more of a score first guy, yeah. All right. Lakers moving the ball better now, and they are up by 10.
Well, see, here it is. Now they're getting different players involved. And that's really due to Caruso. Because then LeBron doesn't have to be the sole facilitator out there. I love when that guy gets out on there, man.
Well, 7-0 run here.
To true importance on the team.
Harrell with a 10-foot jumper. Kuzma with a 3 off LeBron, and Harrell with a dump from Horton Tucker underneath. That was a nice wraparound pass around Thompson. I mean, these lineups just aren't working for Boston so far. It's the same deal on Wednesday. They played 13 guys. They couldn't find the right combinations. The offense got stalled at certain stretches, and the defense did not play well at all. So the Celtics are not looking good right now. 31 points in 18 minutes.
If you play 13 players and there were no ejections, something's wrong with the team.
Yeah. We're already at 10. We're already at 10 tonight. I'm sure we'll see some Grant, some Carson, some Green if this continues. Surprised we haven't seen Green. He's been their best backup wing so far this year.
So it went from, you don't think he should even stay the whole season to best backup.
No, Green, not T.
Oh, okay.
Javonte Green, who was a 4-year guy at Radford, played a little bit overseas, and then joined the Celtics last year. He was great to start last year, too, and then disappeared a little bit because they had Gordon Hayward. Now they're looking for a third wing. It's not him, but he can fill some of those minutes. And that's another thing with the Celtics team. The Hayward loss hurt. I mean, not just because he's killing it in Charlotte, but they were a wing-oriented team. who needed 3 quality wings who can pressure the defense on the floor at a time. And now they're either a too big team when they really don't have a single great big, or they're a 3-wing team with a wing that's pretty much just standing in the corner taking threes and playing some defense. I mean, that 5th spot in their lineup, they're missing something every single time they put 5 guys on the floor.
I mean, maybe you'll tell me that it would have been, but is there any guarantee that if he, came back, he would be the way that he's playing in Charlotte? Or
no, he wouldn't have
the ability to play like that?
No, he gets a lot more ball time there. He gets more shots, all that stuff. He wouldn't be putting up – I think he had a 40-point game this year against Brooklyn. You wouldn't see that, but he was efficient in his spots. I think he had the most efficient season ever for a 4th option last year. And he drove people crazy because he was always hurt and he wasn't living up to the dollar figure, which fans are always going to go crazy about. But he was a real solid player last year, and he was a luxury as a 4th option. And that's how it goes in the NBA. If you have a luxury, it's not going to last too long. They're either going to want a bigger role or more money, or you're going to have to pay luxury tax. Something's going to break up a team that has a luxurious amount of talent, which makes it hurt all the more that they didn't make the finals last year.
I mean, if you had held Goran Dragic to under 20 points, maybe we would have seen, some different outcome. But
all right, so from the Twitter line, Kemba needs to be way better than this on offense. Thompson has to be way better than this on defense. Lots of people looking for more aggression from Kemba, and he is back on the floor with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Ball moving a little bit. Brown driving on Harrell and gets a tough layup to go. 8-point game.
That's the first part sounds doable, but does the second part really sound like that? That you could just get good defense out of Tristan Thompson? I don't know that that's exactly something that can just be improved.
LeBron versus Semi Ojeleye. Oh, and a block by Ojeleye. That was a kick out. Looked like a kick out to me after he got jammed. But either way, 3-pointer doesn't go for LA. Tatum gets Horton Tucker in isolation here. You got to take advantage of that. And he passes it to Ojeleye, and Ojele's out of bounds. Awkward game from these Celtics so far, and they're going to need a much better second half, or this one could get out of hand.
The HT clan.
LeBron gets Kemba on a switch this time at the top of the 3-point line and goes right to the bucket and misses a layup. He wants a foul, and now look at him. He's 15 feet behind the defense. Let's see if the Celtics can take advantage. And yes, Brown goes right to the bucket on a nice pick and roll. Reverse hand layup. 41-35. Big momentum play there. LeBron missing a layup. He got right by Kemba.
LeBron does that more often than you think.
And now a turnover for LeBron on the ball. Celtics going to get a fast break opportunity here. And it looked like they missed as my TV continues to scramble. This is tough to deal with. Looks like LeBron. Was it Horton Tucker who turned it over? I'm trying to see here what happened there. Oh, geez, my iPad's so far behind.
It was LeBron. An underrated aspect of Kyle Kuzma's game is rebounding. I mean, he really does know how to rebound.
What's his average?
Without looking, I'll say 6.
This is good. Stay within 8 here. 4:30 to go. Smart's going to take a 3 and almost airballs it. That was very flat. But JB gets it back for a quick putback, and we have a 6-point game.
I was close. 5.8 after looking.
Now Davis misses a layup through Semi Ojeleye. Lakers missing some easy shots at the basket here. Now Tatum gets an ISO on Harrell. Step back three is good. 3-point game. The Lakers pay a big price there, missing layups. 9-2 Celtics run.
Wow, that's usually a shot that just falls for Anthony Davis. He has a couple shots in his arsenal that really do just go. That step back mid range, I can't explain it. It'll be contested and it'll just go in. That floater right next to the rim just goes in, but not tonight.
So we're talking Caruso. They got the free throws on Caruso. Horton Tucker, and now I think that was Harrell on that last step back three. Tatum getting some good switches here, some good isolation opportunities. And he's cashing in at a decent rate, I'd say. What are we talking about now from him? 14 points on 5 of 7. Great game. And he's leading them back right now. I mean, he just has to kill guys in isolation, and so far he's been able to do it. Kemba, though, 1 of 7. Second straight rough game for him.
I'm trying to resist from stat watching a couple players, but I'll check. Okay, not as bad. I thought only 1 of 3. I was expecting about a 1 of 5 at this point. That's usually how it goes first half. But second half, he chases the game. Isn't that what everyone says when the team is losing? Oh, we're a second half team.
Yep. Celtics, their best quarter is the second, so not surprising to see them rolling here. The third quarter has been their worst.
Last year, Lakers were a big third quarter team, and then they refused to close out any games. They wouldn't close out games.
As long as you're cashing in on the fourth quarter, that's all that matters.
I know, all too well.
That's where champions are made.
I'd argue the opposite. I think champions are made in the first 3 quarters. That sounds a little bit too much like your clutch talk. I hate clutch. The idea of clutch is so silly to me. Someone will be 1 for 45 in a game, and they'll make the one shot at the end. They'll say, how clutch.
Remember the conversation with LeBron was he clutch?
And what's funny is he's technically like the most clutch player ever. But has anybody watched LeBron in general in fourth quarters? Sometimes he looks like LeBron, and other times he just looks terrible. He looks awful. He'll just miss shots, turnovers, doing too much ISOs. The worst thing he can do, because LeBron thinks he's a three-point shooter now, is with 18 seconds on the clock, he'll take a contested three-point shot. Out of this world. And who's going to tell him to stop doing that? Frank Vogel? I don't think Savannah James could get to him to stop doing that. So silly. And then other times he'll get 7 for 11 from 3, and you can't say anything.
So does this Lakers team suffer from some ball watching with LeBron and Davis a little bit? Even Davis, I'd say, maybe ball watches a little bit once the offense stalls with this team. They're not a great offensive team. I don't see a ton of involvement so far from Pope. Schroeder's been okay. The centers certainly aren't going to give you a ton of offense.
So LeBron, and he's gotten better on defense in recent years, as in last season. Because for a couple of years he was really just being lazy. But he is a ball watcher just because he wants the ball in his hands at all times. So he's always looking at how to get that. And he wants to just control the game. So there are times when he does that, but in recent memory, LeBron's become as good as a defender as you could wish for at this age.
I'm talking offense. Are we going to see some of these other guys get involved?
Oh, I mean, you can hope, but you never really know.
Another missed layup for the Lakers in transition. This time it's Pope bricking a run out. Brown made a good contest on it from behind, but Celtics are within 3. Tice gets a floater, and he misses it. Davis finally secures the bucket. Celtics could have got within 1 there, but these misses at the basket are piling up for LA in the second quarter. That was a good contest from behind from Brown, but he should have had that. Gasol 3, no good. So with 2:40 to go, it'll be Celtics ball again. Lots of texts, lots of tweets. They don't like the Celtics rotations, and it's experiment city so far here in January into February, trying to find guys who can contribute. Rob getting some minutes here. I like that.
Well, I think it's more than contribute. It's who can cleverly match up and beat the Lakers.
Yeah. 13-4 run. I believe that was Marcus Smart who gets a shot to go. A block on Rob, and he throws it to the Lakers. Oh, another mental miscue for Rob Williams, and that's probably going to land him on the bench. Oh, great block initially, and then just threw it right back to, I believe, Caruso. No, he threw it right back to Schroeder after he blocked him. That's another problem for Rob. Once he secures the ball off the glass, he wants to get it right to a teammate instantly. So now instead of a potential tie game, Lakers are going to keep it at a couple possessions here with Davis at the line.
That was kind of rough by Anthony Davis. I know he's not looking. He's trying to just get the ball in. But why not do a head fake and then put the shot up? People don't use the head fake enough.
No, especially in traffic.
I mean, when you know the guy is right there because you just got it and he was right on top of you, you know he's going to just go up to block the shot. Why not get him off balance? Or you're Anthony Davis, go up and under. But
all right, great offensive set from Marcus Smart there. And we have a tie game. Circled inside, got a switch on Gasol. Try to make the defense contract a little bit because he had Gasol on him on the perimeter and hits Brown for a 3. We are tied at 47-47.
wow, that was a trouble on AD. You got it to go. See, how is there a rivalry and the Lakers are picking Celtics players up from the floor? Rivalry, Bobby and ESPN. Not on my watch.
We got to sell the product.
I mean, there's just so many factors to why a rivalry can't really exist in sports today. Although they still exist, but there's so many factors against it. They're making so much money. There's fines that come out for everything. The fouls, obviously, the refs are quick to look and see if things are flagrant. Everything's working against it. The cameras are watching everything at all times.
Oh, tough play right there. Looks like the Lakers were rushing in transition. Davis bobbled the ball out of bounds, and Smart went to get it to try to lob it to Brown in transition, but ended up losing the ball for Boston there out of bounds. So Lakers should get last shot of this half. Good box out by Davis. He probably saved Smart from actually successfully saving that.
Yeah, he's watched too many highlights of Smart over Kawhi, and he doesn't want
that. That was that's one of my favorite plays ever. All right, LeBron and Semi, 49-49. This will be the last shot. Gets by Semi, goes by Rob, lays it in and one. The Lakers are going to probably lead at halftime after the free throw. But LeBron does not hit free throws anymore. That's probably the biggest weakness in his game at this point in his career.
And Anthony Davis has been bad from free throws recently. Usually you can count on it. I think he was like an 80% shooter this season. I don't know what it is. It might be low 70s.
And he hits that free throw. I think 72% on the season now. 5 seconds. Smart's just going to throw this one up. Oh, he gets it into Tatum with the second, and they didn't get a shot up. All right. 52-49 half. And there we have it. Our first half in live stream history on Bobby Manning's YouTube channel. And it was a good one. Sloppy at times, but close, back and forth. 2 big runs. Lakers got up 10. Celtics ended up tying the game. But Davis has been the best player on the floor tonight, and it's offensive rebounds, it's pull-up jumpers, and getting to the free throw line as well. Anthony Davis goes out there, and he puts stats on the board. It's just what happens back to his first days in the league. He's going to block shots. He's going to put points up. He's going to make a huge impact on the board. There just aren't many quiet Anthony Davis games. And
they're noticeable when they happen, and they're so far and few between that it's really standout. Maybe a couple games ago that fans were really getting on AD, then he sat out. But tonight is just the usual from Anthony Davis. What is that, 7 of 14, 18 points?
10 rebounds already.
Yeah. So hopefully the second half they can just get those layups to go. LeBron starts getting more players involved, and they can build on the lead. Which the Lakers hate doing, by the way. They hate building on leads.
You're right. 3-point game. Those 3 layups go down. We're probably talking about let's do some math in my head here.
That'd be
9-point lead. There we go. That would happen faster in 12th grade.
Carry the 1.
I haven't taken a math class since 12th grade. I didn't have to take a single math class at Q's.
When I was in community college, my class started at 8 a.m. My math class, my first class in community college, and to get there, I had to take 2 buses. So I had to wake up at 5:30 a.m. to get to school to get to that math class. Every class, they kept attendance, so you'd have to get there and sign your name, and then everyone went to sleep.
You told me about that, and I told you the story of my Spanish class. The guy who, every time there was a test, he'd pass it right back up and take the 0. And then every single day, he would just first minute of the class come in, lay down, and he slept for all 180 days. I don't know how many days he was absent, but if he was there 180 days, he would have slept all 180 days.
One guy I knew in high school in my social studies class, it was the day of the final, and he was playing a game on his phone, and a girl was like, I'm not going to say his name, but Jonathan, she said, he was like, we're about to start the test. And the teacher was like, let him play the game. He does not care about the test. Like, let him play the game. And he really he didn't hand him a test. He just stayed and played the game. Which is kind of funny, because why even go to the class if you're not even going to take the test? That was interesting.
You had to go to school back in the day. It's the law. At a certain age, you can drop out, right?
Well, there's no truancy law, so if you skip, the police don't come after you.
Oh, really? In Connecticut?
Yeah.
So you could drop out at any age.
In theory, yeah.
All right. So any other thoughts out of that first half? I think what killed the Celtics from my perspective is Kemba not looking good. I'm already getting a Kemba's wash tweet. There's going to be a lot of Brad Stevens criticism on Celtics postgame tonight, I'm sure. And not enough shots for Jaylen Brown. I mean, the shots did seem a little spread out for the Celtics. 7 for Walker, 8 for Tice, 4 for Smart, and 9 for Brown. So Tatum and Brown still end up taking the most, which I'm fine with. But overall, it was just those turnovers at the end. I didn't like Smart throwing that ball in bounds, as creative as that was. I didn't like Rob throwing it back to the other team after his rebound. And believe it or not, Tristan Thompson had positive minutes. He was the lone positive Celtics center, so his minutes were the best out of all of them.
And look at you eating that crow of the first half of one game about Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, that was the standard here. 0 points plus 1. He didn't even take a shot. That's what his offense has been this last week. He's not even taking shots. There's no way for him to find shots within the flow of the offense. He's not rolling. He's not shooting. He took 39 threes last year. He still hasn't taken one this year, besides a half-court heave. And he's not going to – he doesn't get post-up opportunities in this offense. The Celtics don't post up.
My only thoughts on the first half are that I hope that LeBron gets more involved in the second half. That's it. I mean, he has 3 assists. He's 4 of 8 shooting. I just hope he gets involved in the second half. I think that will be a key. If they can really just spread this game around, it'll be tough for the Celtics to get in. But if they start going LeBron and AD heavy, then the Celtics are just going to, put Tyson 4. They're going to put Rob in at the 5, and they're going to just crowd the paint. And that's going to shut them out. They're going to have a big numbers night, put up the kind of 9 of 23 kind of night. Don't want to see that. So they just got to get everyone involved, and it's really going to hurt the Celtics going forward. Wow, Rob Williams, the rebounds leader on the Celtics.
He is the leader in the NBA in offensive rebounding percentage, believe it or not. Another limited stat in his limited minutes that make me think he could be the guy. 2 of 2 so far in this game. But I told you, that half was the story of Rob Williams. 2 of 2, good minutes, activity, a block. But that one moment, just throwing it right back to Schroeder after the block shot is what loses trust. You probably just let a guy play through that, right? I mean, it's not the playoffs. We're talking game number 16.
Isn't that on the coach, though?
Yeah. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I tend to trust Brad, but I don't know about that one. I don't know if my trust is there on his thoughts on Rob Williams. But, Tice had a good first half overall. Those numbers ended up looking good by the end of it. He missed a bunny on that left baseline there that could have brought the Celtics within 1. Well, again, sloppy on both sides.
What also brings it down is that the Celtics played 3 centers. So the rebounds are going to look a little bit less for each. Whereas if they played 2, the numbers would have been boosted a little bit. Maybe you give Tristan Thompson 2 rebounds to Tice, and it looks like 10 and 6 first half. You're saying, wow, don't let that guy get off the court.
Did we see Wes Matthews? No, so he's pretty much out of the fold. Markieff Morris, are these guys out of the Lakers rotation right now?
No, they're in it, but I think both coaches were playing a little reactionary in the first. And they really didn't want to sub if they could see someone else wasn't subbing. So That's why it stayed LeBron and AD on the court. LeBron getting extra minutes when AD went off towards the end of the first. And probably second half you'll see more of it, depending on how much Vogel wants to take LeBron or AD or both out for the beginning of the second half.
All right, it is halftime. We have Windows A here with us. If you're still hanging out with us, I got low numbers here, but again, we're just doing this for the first time. Maybe people will catch this tomorrow. Good battle between his Lakers, my Celtics. Sloppy game so far, but again, I get excited for these big primetime national TV games. I'm excited so far. Has this game done anything to get you more intrigued so far?
It hasn't. It especially hasn't. You know why it really, really hasn't made me think? Because the Lakers haven't been aggressive. So I can't even see them. I can't even say, they're really putting their all into this rivalry. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a sort of frightened team at times who is, not getting it done on simple things like the layups. And they're not really showing out to make me think, wow, this shows how much this game means to them. So to me, again, it's just another game.
All right, we'll have a chance to talk about this game on the second half. Is there a rivalry in the NBA right now?
Yeah, the Clippers and the Lakers. That's the rivalry.
Has that even become one yet? They haven't seen each other in the playoffs.
They haven't, but the regular season has been enough. And it goes from first to off season to the games. Each game that they play means something. And so the Lakers won the last 2 season, the Celtics has won the first two, including the opening night and the Pat Beverly strip on LeBron to end the game. And then this season, the Clippers got the first one, albeit it was a closer game than the first game of the last season. So those games do tell me a story about where the players' heads are at and the aggressiveness that they're going to have going forward and in the playoffs. So that game means a lot to me, and I'm sure a bunch of other fans watch it. Whereas a game like the Lakers-Celtics, if it's not in the playoffs, I mean, who's really thinking about it? It's once or twice a season. Maybe some memorable moments in recent past. The ref gate, the last game that they played, the Rondo winner, the blowout that the Celtics had. But really, I don't think about it too much after the game is over. I don't go.
You're calling that one ref gate, huh?
No, I told you when it happened. They were very lucky at the end of the game that shot didn't go up, that it was a foul called offensive. They were, and the refs were really favoring the Lakers the whole game. I actually think that goes down to a lesser extent than people think. That I think it's just big players in general get calls. But when you have LeBron, you know, most times you're going to get good calls. They didn't the other night in Philadelphia. That wasn't a flagrant 2 on LeBron. I don't care what any Philadelphia fan says. They didn't get it the other night, but typically you do get some good calls, and they got good calls in that game to save them. But other than that, not a memorable game.
What do you think it takes for a player? I'm thinking of Jason Tatum. I'm thinking of Jaylen Brown. What do you think it takes for them to get that level of success, respect from the referees, extra respect?
Sustained success. I mean, what is it? Tatum's 3rd or 4th season in the league, so not much to build on. It's when the refs just have in their mind, okay, we need this guy to, you know, get that call. We need him to look good or whatever. Whatever Adam Silver is calling down to the refs during the game. So because they're young guys, they're not really going to get those calls. You got to be an established guy or just so overly valuable that it would be necessary. So that's why I would think Tatum would get those calls, but maybe you're saying he doesn't.
He doesn't get a ton. I think he goes into traffic, throws himself into traffic a ton. The early season free throw numbers with him were rough. I think he went about 3 or 4 games without taking one period. And so there's always a talk about how he gets called, whether he's aggressive enough. The numbers on him going to the rim were high. He was going to the rim as much as anyone in the league early in the year, but he wasn't getting to the free throw line. It was the same deal last year. His problem continues to be when he goes into the lane, sees help comes, sees a center at the basket, he tries to avoid contact rather than embrace it and go to the free throw line. Brown has actually done a better job with that than him so far through their careers. So I think that to some degree hurts him. I also think when he doesn't get a call, it's hands up, yelling, just making a funny face at the refs. There's not a lot of conversation there that I can see. You know how LeBron's always having a conversation, whether it's pregame, after. There's a gaming going on. I don't see
the game stopped, and LeBron is 30 feet behind, like imploring that the ref give him a call for a play that already happened.
And he never gets a technical in those situations. So he has built up a level of two-way conversation with these referees that he's been able to take advantage of.
I think we talked about it. If you kick LeBron out of a game, someone is getting less time as a referee. So he doesn't get that. He's never going to get 2 techs. He's never going to get that flagrant 2.
How about that call last week? That was quintessential flagrant 2. Even you agreed. I think every Lakers fan could probably deep down agree that that's the one play in basketball you deserve to get ejected for.
Which?
The push on Embiid.
I already said that's not a flagrant 2. That's soft.
Really?
Hard. But it wasn't even a full extend. That's soft. And people who say, "Oh, the league is too blah 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 now." Okay, well this man, pushed Embiid a little bit. There was no fight. There was nothing, and people wanted LeBron out of the game. Talk about soft, and especially Embiid, talking like that. He should have had a play.
I don't think you can push any player in the air. I also don't know why they have a flagrant 2 because they never use it. I guess it's just for if you throw a punch.
Yeah, flagrant 2 is when it's like anybody would say they can't play anymore.
All right, we are back for the second half for the 367th meeting between the Celtics and Lakers. I'm done with my cookies, so if that made you tune out, we are food free again. Looks like Linda went to get a snack. So here we go. Third quarter, Celtics, Lakers. Lakers by 3. We need much more offense from the Celtics in this half. And the first possession goes to a Marcus Smart 3 and a miss.
Okay, the Lakers haven't managed to disappoint me yet. It's been 40 seconds. That's good. That's a good sign.
Well, Celtics do have the first bucket of the first half on a Jaylen Brown take. And LeBron does your favorite, the pull-up 3 early in the shot clock from the right wing, and that is flat. And now another make for Jaylen Brown, who is red hot out of halftime. Has that look in his face, the stare down. He gets locked into these games when he's on one of his runs. And the Celtics have a lead early in the third quarter. LeBron gets a switch on Smart here. He's going to throw back to Schroeder, and Schroeder gets a 3. Good set there with LeBron getting the switch on the smaller guy and guiding Schroeder to the top. Lakers lead.
I was dead on the LeBron. 18 seconds on the clock, 3-point.
Yeah.
No reason.
It's unbelievable. Kemba with a good look from spot off 3, bricks it off the back end of the rim, and he is 1 for 8 in this game. Gasol, the good thing about him, I'd say, is he gets that ball at the top of the three-point line. Not a great three-point shooter anymore, but he still draws guys in and can make a pass from there.
The thing is, he's not a good three-point shooter, and he's taking them. That's the issue.
Hey, that's the Marcus Smart argument we have every day, too.
Like, I hate the idea of when someone will say, like, a center is good from 3, and they're shooting like at league average or just below. It's like, they would shoot way better if they just didn't take 3s, right? Like, they'd make a lot more.
You can also do the Aaron Baines that he used to do back in the day, space the floor from 18 feet. It can be a more comfortable shot for some centers. And it does space the floor, even though you're not all the way up to the three-point line. Daniel Tice does a lot of that. I think that's his strength. Nice steal play by Tice there as I name drop him. We're back and forth to start this half.
Look at that. Schroeder, Walker, tapping each other. Hey, I didn't mean that foul, bro. What is this?
Oh, Davis almost airballs a 3 now. He was wide open, too. And now a turnover by the Celtics in transition. So everything going back and forth right now. Love that steal by Tice. If you just got that replay, he inspired me to do that in my own pickup basketball games. Just block a guy out as another guy's trying to score.
Wow, they always talk about the Allen Iverson influence, but what about the Daniel Tice influence? What about that? Influencing all kinds of youth in the greater Boston area.
Underrated influence in Boston basketball.
Yeah.
He'll go down as one of my favorite Celtics ever. He was a great find. So he went undrafted in 2016, and they just ended up bringing him over from his German league. He was the EuroLeague Defensive Player of the Year with his German club. I don't know which one it was, but he comes over at the beginning of that 16-17 season. He's the fourth center on the roster. Ended up giving them surprising good minutes early that year, and then he ended up tearing his MCL, I believe it was, or his meniscus. So he missed the playoffs that year, but then he comes back next year, 18-19. It's a good backup center again that year, and then last year he becomes a starter, and he had a great season. I thought he was a top 10 center last year. Jaylen Brown continuing to hit the basket again and again. 3 buckets to start this quarter. And that's going to get our Lakers timeout as the Celtics go up 2 with 4 minutes gone by in this half. Marc Gasol's in the game. Interior defense kind of falls apart for the Lakers, it's looking like, in this game. Brown just torched him on a switch there.
Did I tell you about the idea that I have players like force timeouts on the team? Like the coach doesn't do it. They'll just get a basket of the other team, and the players will just refuse to inbound the ball until the coach takes a timeout. I need to see video evidence to see more proof. But it happens so often. LeBron will just be looking at someone score, and then he'll do the wipes his hands on his jersey and just wait for someone else to inbound, and no one does until Vogel calls the timeout.
Does he not want to be seen calling the timeout?
He'll just watch the ball. He'll be looking at the ball 2 feet away, and he'll just watch it until Frank Vogel's like, "Oh yeah, timeout."
So we have a Celtics lead. Like the activity. All right, Lindo. What needs adjusting after that Celtics run there?
LeBron James. And not those kinds of fucking threes. Oh my god, what a loser. No, I mean it just has to be methodical, and it can't be, getting trapped into thinking you're a 3-point shooting team. It seems like the Celtics are kind of allowing the Lakers to take some threes because they don't really trust them, and the Lakers are saying, "You're right," because we're not a 3-point shooting team.
You know what they love? They love right now with the kind of game Davis has had inside, him pulling up, and then there being no Anthony Davis inside to grab that mess.
Yeah. Anthony Davis, perfect example of people who say, that guy can really hit threes. And he shoots like league average from 3. So
I think he was 32 when I checked today. He was lower than I thought.
Yeah. So they're more than welcome to take those threes against teams because they'll say, yeah, there's a good chance you're just not going to make this. So him, LeBron, I know Schroeder made one, but that just happened to be on a LeBron draw, which is what you want. You want LeBron to build that play up. So it's got to be more methodical. It can't be cookie cutter, or else they'll say, okay, you're playing like it's 2K. We'll read that easy. Especially now that, Jaylen Brown is getting buckets. That means Jason Tatum's not far off from those. And obviously, if Kemba has any more minutes left.
This is not a great Kemba Walker game, as we have mentioned.
1 for 8?
Nope, easily is return from the injury. No doubt about that. I love Marcus Smart. Again, not a rare opinion from a Boston guy, but sets up the offense, aggressive, finds his shot. It goes back to the conversation you just had about Davis and some other guys who aren't great 3-point shooters. I'd say Smart's probably a 33 this year, below league average. But there will be those games where he cashes in, where he's aggressive. I think the second game against Philly last week, he carried the offense, and he's the best passer on the team. And if I'm thinking of a guy who can set up the offense, push the ball around, 5 guys shots, it's him, but he's not always a reliable finisher. So his penetration is going to be great. And to mention it, gets into the lane there and finds Tatum wide open for a three, but Tatum misses in the right wing. Schroeder's going to get us back running the other way. Celtics still up 2 out of the timeout. And Gasol misses a three this time for LA. So the misses are piling up for both sides out of the timeout from the three-point line. Not the best two shooting teams in recent weeks.
Again, it's just predictable and it's silly. They're allowing that to happen because the Lakers aren't three-point shooting teams. And it's not like it's KCP and Kuzma and Wesley Matthews out there. It's LeBron and AD and Marc Gasol taking the threes.
AD with a pull-up too, and he ties the game. He is having a massive performance right now. It might be enough to just will LA to a win here, but it's close.
I mean, the game is so for that.
Smart got Gasol at the free throw line in a crossover, sent him back a few feet, but couldn't get the pull-up to go. These teams are ice cold right now. LeBron gets tight this time. It's going to be another one of those games where LeBron gets every defender on the opposing team on him. And he gets a three to go from...
That's scary. You know what that does? Tell him you can shoot 4 more.
Was that LeBron who hit it? My TV is just gone to hell.
What pack? You got DirecTV up there? Is there a raindrop that just hit the thing? I know DirecTV is notorious for that.
No, this is Comcast. It is 16 degrees here, though, so maybe something froze.
Yeah, that was a LeBron step back. But yeah, that tells him, LeBron, take a couple more. Don't worry.
He is up to 5 3-point attempts. Most of any player in the game.
He's 5 of 10 now.
5 of 11.
I don't use this often, but I think it might be time to put Kuzma in the game.
He did play well in that first half. Their bench unit was able to beat Boston's. We're getting some Rob Williams now. Oh, Rob jumps into Davis on the shot fake, and another mistake for Rob Williams early in his minutes here. Marcus Smart's giving him a little coaching on the up fake. Again, you want a guy to be comfortable. You want him to be able to make mistakes. You want him to be able to grow from those. And it does frustrate me when a coach, when an organization is that tough on a guy that they don't allow him to work through things. Now, I think he's going to stay here, but how long is he going to get minutes-wise here? How many minutes has he played so far? We're talking 10? So can he get up to 18, 20 tonight? Probably not. We're probably just going to see another 15 from him, 13 to 15.
We have money on the over?
No.
18 minutes.
Maybe if you can make a few plays here. They're going hot hand at center, and that has been Daniel Tice tonight. And they're actually out there together right now. Another double big lineup, as we've talked about.
Which also encourages Lakers threes, which they'll just miss.
Oh, Daniel Tice, a big putback. 64-64. He has had an awesome game. 2 best players in this game, Daniel Tice and Davis. Probably Tatum, but Tice is right behind. Tice does have these games. He has these games where he takes over in his role in such a way that he ends up being one of the better players in a game. I think he'll end up with a double-double here. Now he gets a switch on the Schroeder. Smart gets him back. Good switch there. Schroeder's going to try to take Smart. Drops it, and Smart gets the steal. And he threw it right back to Davis. How many times have we seen that tonight? Turnover to turnover. All right, Harrell's going to get Rob one-on-one, And he loses the ball. Another turnover. 3 straight turnovers by both sides. Brown attacking Horton Tucker, and he gets fouled. This has been one sloppy game, Windows A.
I'm just not enjoying it. This is your rivalry game. This is the this is the passion. This is all the desire. Wow. Lions trade Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff.
To the LA Rams?
Unrelated, but yep.
All right, so Stafford is off the board for the New England Patriots. And there's a floater from Jaylen Brown. We have a tie game. Forget Daniel Tice. Jaylen Brown has made 9 straight buckets. Another Lakers turnover. Montrezl Harrell again drops the ball out of bounds on that Schroeder dish. That's 10 Lakers turnovers.
It really is interesting that they'd rack up that many turnovers without LeBron on the court.
Man, Jaylen Brown has been a sight to behold in the NBA this year. One of the most efficient players in the game. Killing it at the basket, mid-range, three-pointer. He's going to be an all-star. And there's Robert Williams on a lob and slam. We have a tie game again. Nice to have a nice back and forth window. It's been a lot of blowouts this year, even if this one's been sloppy.
Not a lot of blowouts in Lakers games.
Oh, and Jeff Teague comes through with the steal. Another turnover, and that's going to get the LeBron timeout. The Celtics are ahead by 2, and the Lakers have turned it over 3 times on the last 4 possessions. Jeff Teague checking in with a big play. He does defend. I'll give him that.
You jinxed him into defense?
All right, we're getting some action here. Defense turning up, but it's mostly just the Lakers screwing up. Miss baskets in the first half at the rim. Now turnovers coming back to bite them. They're what? This is a 7-game road trip for them. They're 6 games in. They just look disinterested right now.
Rivalry game, though, right? This is the big game. This is the big one. Yeah, I'm just seeing turnovers. They're sharing the turnovers. I'll tell you that. Yep. They got 5 players with 2 turnovers. I mean, what do you do about that? Schroeder 2 of 7, KCP 0 of 4. Got to get something out of these guys. And now LeBron's back on. Maybe we will. But without Caruso there too, I'm kind of iffy on that. You got to get both in order to get the best out of each. One of my favorite things in the timeouts are guys that are just never going to get in the game, like discussing strategy.
You got the timeout view on your stream?
Yeah.
What's it looking like?
It looks like Wesley Matthews, Quinn Cook, and Anthony McKinney discussing what the Lakers should be doing going forward. It's almost like fans. Have you ever seen that clip of like Chris Rock talking to a player during the game? That's what it looks like. Like, what are you talking about? That's not what we're going to do at all. I'm surprised they're allowed to sit that close in timeout. No mask.
Hey, COVID rules are malleable, as you know. Did you see the players trying to avoid they put security at midcourt after the game so no one could trade jerseys and hug and high five? It's all working well. They're finding ways around it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the idea of them sitting behind the basket to avoid the players and stuff, no mask or something like that. But, I mean,
hey, I'm with them on this. If you can play a basketball game with these guys and run back and forth and be that close all game, then you can probably swap a jersey with another player after.
I mean, they can't throw it. They can't just toss it across the court. Like,
guys want to greet each other after the game, although it seems like that's what led to Bradley Beal getting shut down when he greeted Jason Tatum after the game. Tatum was playing positive in. I'll give the NBA this. I'm surprised it didn't get worse. Now, we've seen a lot of postponements. I think we've seen at least 17, but we've seen fewer COVID cases than I thought we would. There was just one in the last round of testing positive.
I mean, I think you kind of stated it, a bailout of that. They're making sure players are not, if there's any scare, they're not getting up there.
Yeah.
How can we verify the numbers that Shams tells? What if he's just lying?
Well, they're coming from the league. The league does a report every week, so if they're lying, there's no way around that.
I mean, what if the NBA is operating like state media? They're just telling people, 0 cases this week.
Could be. We wouldn't know any different.
Adam Silver in his Westchester home chuckling.
All right, LeBron gets a block at a timeout. Whatever Wes Matthews discussed worked. And the breakout goes for the Lakers. 70-70. And as I can hear on the Grandy broadcast right now, LeBron has moved on to Jaylen Brown. Robert Williams with the putback. Look at this, Lindoze. Robert Williams getting some activity going. Lob and now a putback. 8 points, 8 rebounds for the junior. You know, we say sophomore, we say freshman. Junior Celtic out of Texas A&M.
So he's not that young.
Nope, third year. And Rob Williams on the breakout. Oh, Lord. Jason Tatum just got a steal, flipped it out of bounds, went behind the back to Rob, and led him in transition for a dunk. 10 points, 8 rebounds for Robert Williams off the Celtics bench, and the biggest Celtics lead I can remember all night at 4. Brown's on James. Pull up 3, no good. Another early shot clock 3 from LeBron, and the Celtics have a chance to build on this lead here. And now Tatum goes around the Rob Williams screen and hits a pull-up 2. We have a 6-point game. Robert Williams has injected some serious life into this game for Boston. And now another turnover. Robert Williams with the steal. Jason Tatum, 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Driving past LeBron. They are calling a blocking foul. And Jason Tatum will head for free throws and try to make this an 8-point game. What an explosion at the end of this half. And, oh, Lord. The Lakers are just on a turnover frenzy. LeBron went behind the back to no one. Ended up in Tatum's hands along the sideline. He goes behind the back to Rob. And these teams are just throwing the ball everywhere.
That's the coaching expertise of Wesley Matthews and Anthony McClain.
LeBron is just freelancing his way through this one, isn't he?
I mean, I said what we would need is serious LeBron play, and here he is not caring about the rivalry. You know, I hate when players come out after losses and they're like, "Yeah, we just gotta build up together." You know, all teams have. Like, you don't want to hear that. No one wants to hear the players discuss things like that. It sounds like a 2K my career mode answer. Like, nobody cares.
I am so excited about Rob Williams, Linda. A few mistakes tonight. We've seen it. The foul on Davis, the throwaway in transition. Just deal with it. Every player makes mistakes. He's a much, much more positive than he's been a negative so far. They're talking about LeBron lifting the weights on the radio broadcast. I guess that was in the middle of the game. I didn't believe it was, but it was. LeBron was lifting, doing some chest press during his time on the bench. Is that why? Is he sore? Is his chest a little tight? I've played basketball after a chest day. It's not easy.
That's just to exercise his arms so after the turnovers he can rub his jersey. Oh, it's the hands. It's the hands.
All right, 78-71 game. LeBron splits a pair of free throws. I don't have a ton of people tuning in, but we're having fun. We'll go to the final buzzer here tonight. If you are with us, we're doing Celtics post-game on CLNS Media after the game. You can come hang out with us there. You want the link to the stream, Zay, I'll send you that so you can get that out to some people.
Someone said the Lakers need to get Bradley Beal. Just upend the team. That would be like...
You know what I'm...
Too.
You know what I'm terrified of? I don't think it's going to happen this year, but it could happen over the offseason. Bradley Beal for Ben Simmons.
You would everyone for Ben Simmons. Everybody will trade Ben.
Is there a more valuable player on the trade block in the NBA than Ben Simmons?
I guess not.
I mean, he's an all-defensive player. I don't think he's made all defense, but that's the caliber of a defender I think of him as. Phenomenal passer, 10-rebound guy. He just can't shoot. That's all I'm saying. It's a big component, but he has everything else.
But is he a guy who's on the trading block for anyone but James Harden?
Oh, yeah. Bradley Beal is more valuable than James Harden, I would argue.
You think so? In what way?
35 points a game, better shooter, a little younger, I think. Isn't he a little bit younger? The contracts are about the same, but you don't have.
I think those points are a little overblown because he's such the number one option on the team.
Well, so is Harden.
That's true.
Beautiful replay there. Jaylen Brown, 24. Jason Tatum, 22. It's probably too soon for this. They got to win a championship, but Jaylen and Jason, I'm thinking again closer and closer to LeBron and Davis as a duo by the day.
Yeah, I think your condition to it is absolutely a necessity.
So we have a running dunk, a steal, a breakout layup. What else do we have from Rob Williams? An offensive rebound, put back. Just nonstop activity.
I mean, your star boy is showing up tonight. That's for sure.
And again, his analytics only going to go up with these minutes. Let's see his plus minus. So far, Rob, a +6. But to show you the overrated nature of plus minus, Jeff Teague, +9. Just siphoning off those Rob minutes.
That's why I think the NBA is a league where statistics are very deceptive as opposed to some other leagues like baseball, where I think the statistics very much accurately depict how players are. I think so often some of the advanced stats in basketball kind of mislead players on how much individuals actually do.
So that's the thing with Rob. So the per 100 numbers on Rob say the Celtics outscore the opponents by 30 points per 100 possessions, which is pretty much a game, 100 possessions. If you played Rob for 48 minutes, 100 possessions, you're probably not getting that production. I'm forgetting another math term here.
Wow, maybe Syracuse should have forced you to take some math.
It's a fraction. That's the best word I can think of at that point.
That was what you were looking for.
No, it wasn't, but it's close enough.
Okay.
All right, Tatum turns it over this time. LeBron going at Rob, and he is going to go to the free throw line. So Lakers are getting back into this. There's some miscues of the Celtics. What do we got for turnovers now? 9 for the Celtics, 13 for the Lakers.
That's comfortable. That's a traditional Lakers number right there. This is a strange lineup that the Lakers have. Strange. I mean, you can't have the closing lineup in yet because you need them all to be, ready to go. But strange lineup to have Trezan, what's his name out there at the same time.
Oh, I mean, we've reached the point 11 minutes ago here. Celtics have played well enough. LA is not playing well in this one. I want to see a win here from Boston. Close this out.
I want to see the opposite. So eventually we're going to need to see that Caruso, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kuzma, or KCP.
All right, so too much cheating here. But Horn Tucker off on a three-pointer. The Lakers are just dead from three-point land tonight because Tatum was cheating in a little bit on Montrez, thought he was going to turn the corner. Tucker got a nice open three off of that and completely bricked it. So Marcus Smart bringing it up here. Teague gets bumped, but no free throw. Jeff Teague definitely does not have the respect of the officials at this point in his career. And Montrezl Harrell misses a layup, but gets the second shot to go, and Marcus Smart is hurt. Looks like Marcus Smart got fouled on from behind by Harrell on the putback attempt. That might be a Paul Pierce situation, the way his leg got fallen on.
It says fraction, smiley face. Your math terms. I mean, by the time that I get on another live stream, your math terms got to improve. Get on Khan Academy.
What am I trying to think of with that term there? It looks like a calf or knee. I don't know. Smart's jogging off to the locker room and does not look good right now. He was in a lot of pain. And there's one less wing for the Celtics down the stretch here.
What's crazy is him coming down. It didn't look very crazy. I mean, it didn't look like his leg was particularly damaged when he came down. These guys couldn't handle the tougher 80s and 90s basketball.
But there's a big development. Marcus Smart came in the locker room with a left leg injury at some point. Couldn't put weight on it. Helped off. I didn't see much contact there, did you? I thought Harrell might have fallen on the back of his leg, like I said, with Pierce and Perkins back in the day. But
what it looked like is that Harrell's leg would have come down towards his knee, but it wasn't his knee that was hurt. It was the back of his leg. So
yeah,
when he came down on his leg, it looked very regular. So I have no idea.
Again, I don't want to speculate, but calf, maybe a calf strain would be a best case there. But you worry about an Achilles in that situation on something that looks like that. I have no clue, but he was in a ton of pain. Couldn't put any weight down. So I doubt we're going to see him again tonight at the very least.
That's always a funny introduction to say, I'm not going to speculate, but then you speculate.
I'm not going to speculate on one in particular.
Oh, okay. All right. For those listening, Bobby Manning is not a licensed doctor. Please, if this injury happens to you, go see a licensed physician in the greater Boston area.
All right, so what are we going to see here with the Celtics without Smart down the stretch? Double big, Semi Ojeleye, more Jeff Teague. The options are not great either way. I'm guessing they're going to go with Rob, Tice, and Brown, Tatum, and Kemba down the stretch of this one. So we'll see more double big. Just as we will with the Lakers. This is a good matchup to go double big, and that's what the Lakers like doing too.
That's not the lineup I need to see for the Lakers in a closing matchup. But, I mean, it's not closing time yet. It's 10 minutes left in the fourth. Now what you want to see when you want the Lakers to come out and pull out a victory.
All right, the Celtics are going with Neesmith in the place of Marcus Smart, so another opportunity for the rookie. Tatum has Caruso lined up, double comes. Teague gets into the lane. And Kuzma gets to stop at the basket, but the Celtics have 2 seconds on the shot clock because the ball went out of bounds. Again, they just showed the replay. Again, no contact at all on that Marcus Smart injury.
Yeah, that guy just had to use the bathroom, man. It's all right. He'll be back.
So the Celtics just can't stay healthy. This is only their second game with that full starting lineup from last year this year. Tatum had COVID. Brown has been healthy, but Kemba had a knee injury to start the year, a knee treatment program. Other players have gone on and off the COVID list. Now Marcus Smart, some sort of left leg injury.
I mean, it's too early to tell, really, right?
Wow. Corey Tucker driving strong on Tatum, gets him out of the way and finishes. 9-0 Lakers run, gets them the lead with some free throws and Celtics miscues on the offensive end. It's just been a cold stretch here from the Celtics offense. And Tristan Thompson just grabbed an offensive rebound and rainbowed it out of bounds. I don't know what he was trying to do there. These teams just have the COVID fog going through going through both ends of the floor right now.
How much is Tristan Thompson getting paid? Mid-level exception?
Yeah, $9 million.
Wow.
But a 2-year deal.
What a life.
He had the best year of his career statistically last year. I am stunned. And Jeff Teague beats LeBron to the basket. Didn't see that coming. He breaks the run, and the Celtics are back on top 80-79. Still no word on Marcus Smart from Celtics PR. I'm guessing we'll hear it shortly. Meanwhile, Harold puts the Lakers back up. Speaking of Marcus Smart, there's a rap song released today called Marcus Smart.
From a guy from Syracuse?
Yeah. Stove God Cooks. I love that guy. I never knew about him when I was at Q's, though. I mean, he is a legit Q's townie.
You got the Obas connection there?
No, Obas doesn't know him, but Obas's friend Seth Dollar apparently knows him.
Oh, okay.
So shout out to Seth Dollar, another Syracuse artist. He's tuning in.
Tristan Thompson is hilarious.
0 points, 12 minutes. Better free throw shooter this year, though, I've noticed. His form looks good. He's usually been an awful one over his career. Ties the game on the first one, 8 minutes to go. We're going to go down the wire window, and both these teams are in the 80s. This is going to be one of the more lower scoring games in the NBA this year.
They're just not there tonight. And again, I said it like 30 times just in jest, but this is the rivalry game. I don't see it. Neither team looks like they're desperate to win this game. It looks like it's just a game to them. Looks like they're ready to head to the locker room and go home. But you know what?
Well, they're not going to go home. They have one more game on this road trip, don't they?
That's true.
They got a rough go. 7 games in a row out east. It's a brutal road trip. I know the Celtics are about to head out west, but 7 games is a lot.
They've done pretty well, honestly. Even with the loss to the Pistons, they've done pretty well.
Won the first 4, lost the last 2. Is this the last one on the trip for them? I'm trying to pull up their schedule.
They're at Atlanta next.
Oh, it's another tough one. So this is a bit of a test stretch here for this team. They got some easy, I don't want to say easy ones. That Cleveland one's tough. Cleveland's good this year. Chicago's not a chump team, even though they've been bad. Milwaukee on the front end. And then, like I said to you, Detroit is a bad team, but they are a fun team, a competitive team. And they took it to L.A.
Anytime a team is fun. That's a great team.
Looks like Horton Tucker now dealing with something in his left arm, his elbow, his wrist. He's getting checked on. LeBron went over to take a look at the injury. I don't know what LeBron was going to provide. I love LeBron. Jaylen Brown, offensive foul. Another turnover for the Celtics as we get a little more even in that department. 81-81. Horton Tucker still on the sideline. You probably wanted him in the closing lineup, didn't you?
No. Closing lineup is
Kuzma?
Yeah.
How about Giannis's brother?
Is that Costas?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. Has he played a minute this season? I don't think he's played a minute this season.
Haven't seen him. I know he's on the injury list coming into this, so he might not even be available.
I mean, it's
a tough pass from Kemba to Brown. Brown gets fouled and one, and now Davis is down, holding his head. They didn't call a foul. It looked like a bump on Davis. Lakers call a timeout because Davis is still down. So now injuries piling up into this. Davis is still down on the backcourt. And it looks like Jaylen Brown might have hit him with an elbow on the way up on that bucket to the head. So we'll see what happens with Anthony Davis.
Caruso tapped him to get up and started running down the court.
That was Kemba's best play of the night, I'd say. Kemba's been awful tonight, but that was a great entry pass.
Elbow, a basketball play.
They'll take a look at that, I'm sure. Again, don't know how they're calling these, don't know how they're reviewing these. Latest on Marcus Smart, though, left calf strain, he is out. And that's what it looked like. So, successful diagnosis for Bobby.
LOL. How many of those are you 1 for 1 on those, or have there been more diagnoses?
Let me think. I definitely, when we saw Kevin Durant in the playoffs there, they try to call his a calf strain. So I guess we'll wait on this until further tests, because when Durant absolutely hurt his Achilles the first time, not the knockout time, but the first one earlier in this playoffs, his last year with the Warriors, that looked like Achilles all day to me. And then they brought him back and he hurt it again, and it did end up being Achilles in the end. So I was successful on that one as well, more successful than the Warriors training staff. Again, that was a kind of unresolved controversy. Remember that? Durant had some seeming animosity toward their training staff and how they brought him back and just how they handled that whole injury thing. But he left and no one's talked about it since.
I'm sure they still are in Oklahoma City.
In Oklahoma City? How about Oklahoma City? After years of room for Westbrook, George, Melo, Durant, their best player this year is probably Al Horford.
Don't forget Chris Paul.
No, he's in Phoenix.
I'm saying he was on the team.
Oh, yeah, last year.
Yeah.
No, I'd say Shai Gilgeous this year, actually. He's probably the best, but Al Horford's right there. And they are not good.
I haven't seen 1 second of Al Horford. That team sucks. That team's missing the playoffs by a lot. They snuck in last year. They will not be sneaking.
I'll throw this at you. Can you name their coach without looking?
Is it Gentry?
Nope.
Who is it?
Someone named Mark Dagnall.
Oh, so it's not even a real person. It's not even an actual human being. It's a 2K created coach.
Or Madden, when they used to do New England coach for Bill Belichick because Bill didn't want to be in the game.
How much money is that you turned down? I know Barry Bonds didn't do it either.
I don't know, but LeBron misses, and Daniel Tice tips LeBron's missed 3 right back into the bucket. Second time tonight the Celtics have put a putback Lakers. And that's been the kind of night it's been. I just heard this tidbit on the radio as I'm listening to that Tuesday. It looks like I don't know what they said, so I'm not going to repeat it.
It's a very interesting tidbit.
I heard it wrong.
Oh my God, Jason Tatum. They got to get Trez out of there, and they got to get what's his name on.
Gasol?
No, you're high. They need to get Kuzma or KCP.
I would agree.
That's the final lineup.
Travel and Tatum. The miscues just keep piling up both ways. I can't fathom. The Celtics are probably going to lose by a bucket or two, and 2 of those buckets were putbacks by Rob and Tice for the Lakers. And again, the first one was in traffic for Rob. Tice literally just caught that rebound and put it right back up and in for LeBron. I don't know what he was doing.
I guess he thought he was going to get the rebound and then he couldn't, so he just tried to pull back, but his hands were already up.
LeBron pull up 3. And it's good. No, falls short. Nope, LeBron hit. My TV is just gone to complete hell.
That's interesting. LeBron hits it. Oh, no, it's short.
I think I'm going to let you call it now. I'm just going to stop guessing.
What a save, though, to give LeBron the shot. The Lakers celebrating, and it's 5 minutes left in the fourth. What are you doing? I don't want to see a single smile from this team. They played horrifically tonight. And they're lucky that the Celtics also were just not up for this rivalry game. Schroeder and LeBron celebrating. What has LeBron hit tonight that they would celebrate that 3? LeBron is 3 for 8 from 3. Like, what, I don't get it. I don't get maybe I'm out of the joke.
He is pulled up often tonight, but 3 for 8 is what? A hair below 50%? 40% or so?
37.5.
Not bad. It's above league average.
Yeah, but when you do that, what really gets me, when you do that in numbers, though, like it kind of doesn't really do that well. Like if you shot 10 threes and you made 3, like that's terrible. Like you missed 7. So those numbers to me really only matter in the low doses. When you get up to big numbers, like that you missed way more shots than you made. Like that's what we got to highlight.
So Celtics are back to the starters. Jalen misses a pull-up 2. That shot hasn't been there for him tonight. The turnovers this quarter is 6 Boston, 0 LA. Lakers have calmed it down.
That's unusual for them.
LeBron gets to switch on Tice. As I told you, it's going to be 3 big for the Celtics minus Smart. Rob's in for Smart right now in that starting group. And LeBron hits a pull-up 3. Another dagger at TD Garden for LeBron if the Lakers can extend this lead anymore.
Oh,
8-0 Lakers run.
left. Oh my God! What hyperbole that is.
In this game of low offense, 6 points is pretty good with 4 minutes to go.
Dag it, 4 left. I just watched the play. I'm glad he made it because if he didn't, Vogel might have had to sub him off for that. It was 15 seconds.
Oh, and what a move by Jaylen Brown going at Anthony Davis. Pulls the ball back, sends Davis back flying, and hits a big 2 inside. Lakers thought he traveled. 4 minutes to go. LeBron for 3. Rims out. That was deep behind the 3-point line. Another pull-up 3 for LeBron. This is a guy who said he doesn't get tired. Just a weird approach in crunch time by LeBron. And now Tatum goes behind the back, throws it away to Harrell. LeBron to Harrell, 2-hand slam, and it is a 6-point game. 7 Celtics turnovers in the fourth. So if you're Boston here, as this game starts to slip away.
A 2-possession game against this offense right now does not seem to me, slip away.
I'm just saying, you would feel better if the Celtics were able to take advantage of how sloppy LA's been in their own right tonight. And instead, they've just been sloppier the other way, especially in crunch time here. I mean, this turnover differential is crazy. And now Rob Williams is going to check out. Semi Ojeleye is in for these last 3 minutes, and the Celtics are playing zone.
I used to know a girl that dated Semi Ojeleye.
Really?
Yeah. She's about to be a lawyer now.
I love Semi. Very religious guy.
What is he, Nigerian?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Every press conference, he just thanks Jesus.
Who's the guy who became a preacher and no one went to his sermon? Was that Isaac? Jonathan Isaac?
Yeah, I think so. He's very religious.
He was like, I said it that I was preaching and no one showed up. It's like, yeah.
The preachy thing in the NBA locker rooms, it's not the NFL,
Don't get me started. My dad he'll go to the grave thinking that the NBA pushed out Mark Jackson as a coach because he's a religious man.
I think that might have something to do with it. There was a lot of that around the Golden State team.
There was a fake forum rumor that I just wish was true, that Mark Jackson called Harrison Barnes a demon and that's why he couldn't play. But, there's no proof of it. I wish, though. That's just so funny, the idea.
All right, 2 minutes to go. Brown gets out on the break, and they're calling a late foul on LeBron at the basket with Brown going into him, and LeBron is losing his mind. He wants a replay. He wants his coach to challenge. And it looks like the right call. LeBron's still moving to his right as Brown hit the basket, and these are going to be huge free throws for Jaylen Brown. He's been pretty good at the line this year, just under 80%. As I jinx him. LeBron is losing his mind. I've never seen a guy be able to react to a call like that and just play on. They're not challenging it. Probably a good move by Frank Vogel.
What a sell. I mean, what is that?
Jaylen Brown misses both at the free throw line. I just told you I jinxed them, and I did.
Ball don't lie.
That's the kind of game it's been for the Celtics, especially in the fourth quarter. So this is it. Lakers can ice it here, and they do. Dennis Schroeder gets to the basket, hits it through the foul, and is 95-89 with 1:40 to go.
I mean, you were calling a dagger at 4 minutes, so I can't trust the game's over.
Just got it past Daniel Tice. Good drive. They're going to make it 6 here. You don't think it's over?
It's not over until the game is over with this team.
This is going to be a tough game to swallow for the Celtics.
This is not your father's Lakers team. As they say.
The father of Isaiah Thomas.
You know that's where my name comes from.
Really? Get out of here. You're Isaiah because of Isaiah too?
Yeah.
No, you aren't.
My father's name is Thomas, and so I was going to be Isaiah Thomas Nins.
That's unreal.
Yeah. My brother is named after Kellen Rashad, the tight end. Not his son, who's,
I never knew that. Did he love Isaiah?
My mom really liked Isaiah. My mom is a Pistons fan, so she says.
Now, the opposite was Isaiah. He lost a bet and had to name his son Isaiah Thomas.
Really?
But his mom was religious, so she didn't want it to be I-S-I-A-H. It was I-S-A-I-A-H, as in the Isaiah of the Bible.
Yeah. Very ironic.
All right, Davis rims out. Here's some light for the Celtics if they can get a bucket to go here. 1:20 to go. Celtics are down 5. Tatum around the tight screen. Going at Davis. Brings him to the corner. Can he get a step back to go here? Looks like that's what he's looking for. No, he goes to the free throw line and hits it. 3-point game, 1:10 to go. And Isaiah was right. We have a game here with just about a minute to go. Celtics need a stop in 3.
Bobby wants to be a storyline writer for the WWE.
Davis is going to get against Tice. They've been picking on Tice a little bit. No, LeBron's going to go 3. And he misses, but Davis picks it up, and the the Lakers get a new 14-second clock here. And the Lakers turn it over. LeBron dribbles out of bounds on the right sideline against Semi, and the Celtics have the ball. Semi Ojeleye with a huge stop on LeBron. LeBron turns it over. That's the first Lakers turnover at the 4th, and a big moment. Timeout Celtics. 39 seconds to go. Lindoze, are you worried?
I'm always worried with LeBron James on my team. Liable to do something stupid. And then ask the refs to fix it for me.
Radio announcers seem to think he hit a dead spot on the floor. I think that's the old Boston Garden. I don't think they have those in the NBA anymore. This isn't Flanagan Gym at Syracuse.
That's the old garden that they played on in Cheers.
Yeah. If you've obviously played at Archibald, the old Archibald at Syracuse used to have right under the basket, absolute dead floor. So if you ever hit that spot right beneath the basket, that ball would just slip right out from under you and just drop like a brick.
I missed Arch.
Jay Adonde just agreed. He just tweeted, looked like LeBron dribbled off an old school Boston Garden dead spot.
LOL.
I think it's more of a metaphor than what actually happened.
Why, this is the end of LeBron James? Is that what you're implying?
And Jason Tatum gets a 2 to go past Montrezl Harrell, and we have a 1-point game. Timeout Lakers. The Celtics are on a massive comeback right now behind Jason Tatum, turning a 6-point deficit with 1:40 to go into a 1-point game. And LeBron is staring up at the Jumbotron about something. Probably the turnover. Great layup. I mean, Montrezl Harrell is not a closer at that center spot. He's still such a revolving door of a defender. No contest, doesn't put a body into him, and Tatum gets a floater to go right over his head.
I'm telling you, that's not the final lineup. The final lineup is Caruso, KCP or Kuzma, with Schroeder, AD, LeBron.
How have you built the number one defense? And I know no one's played defense in the league this year, but with the array of shaky personnel inside, I always think that's a foundation of a great defense, is that inside spot. And if Davis is there, obviously, it's a great lineup. But
What it is.
so if you go back to Davis here for crunch time at center.
He's the 5 in the closing line. Like that's who it is. Vogel is doing I don't know what.
Schroeder gets the ball, 30 seconds to go. The Lakers are up by 1 point. We picked a good one here on the Bobby Manning live stream to watch. Celtics are in a zone. Davis has Ojale in the post. Help lurking by Tice. Tatum locks down LeBron. There's 6 seconds on the shot clock. Davis in the post. Semi behind him. Stripped by Kemba Walker. Kemba has the ball with 10 seconds to go. Jaylen Brown's trying to grab it. 7 seconds. Semi. Kemba. 3 seconds. Step back. Tice can't get the putback to go. And that's the game. The Lakers win. Kemba got a step back look. Tice got a putback that he couldn't get to go. Perfect opportunity, and that's the game. Windows A. Final thoughts before we get out of here.
LeBron's a loser.
Whew, that is a tough loss to swallow. The Celtics got right there, point blank. Daniel Tice could not get a putback to go. Jaylen barely held that ball out in transition as it was leaking away from him.
And it was good defense recovering by Schroeder as well to force a tough shot.
Mr. Windows A, always good to talk to you. I'm off for a post-game show. If you want to keep talking with me, you can join us over there on CLNS Media. I look forward to doing many more of these live streams. And I will talk to you soon, my friend. Good win.
Peace out.